Hi, Guy. Welcome back to Movie Junk. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, man? Thanks for having me back.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back. We're so excited to welcome Guy Nardulli back to our show. Fans have seen your work in shows such as General Hospital, House, Criminal Minds, Monk, CSI New York, How I Met Your Mother, and let's not forget Tulsa King Season
Yeah.
2, which is out on the Paramount networks as well. So excited to welcome you back and talk about all your exciting projects.
Oh man, so excited to be back. This is fun. It's always fun to come back and chat with you. So thanks for having me.
It seems like a lot has happened, right, since the last time that we met. I mean, it seems like the first season was so long ago. Did you think that we were ever going to make our way back, or did you always know?
Um, it was a bumpy road, man. We went on strike. The writers went on strike, and we went on strike, and then it was timing, and we were just in limbo. So yeah, when I got the call finally saying that we were coming back, I was so excited. I mean, it was where was I? I was at a restaurant. My manager called me, and I stepped outside. I think it was like early March, Marchish,
Mhm.
March.
Yeah.
Yeah, early March when I got the call. So yeah, it was a great call to get. It was a great call to get. But yeah, it was weird, man. We went on strike, and we none of us worked for a year.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it just seems, I mean, just from, seeing the first episode, and we can talk spoilers, right? Because the first episode's out, but it just seems like, no one's lost a step. We picked right back up where season one ended. And your character, right? I mean, you kind of had a very intense altercation with the boss. So I'm excited to see that your character is even still alive,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still breathing.
right?
I'm above ground. I'm still above ground. Episode one did air, so we don't have to worry about spoiling up the situation that happened. We did lose one guy, Jerry Izzo. We
Mhm.
took Jerry out, kind of sending a message. When I first read the script, I thought that might have been me. I was like, I was a little worried because of what happened last season. For those of you that don't know or haven't seen last season, go back episode 8 of season one. I have a little altercation with Chicky, who's played by Dominic Lombardozzi, and I'm arguing the fact that we shouldn't take out Dwight, who's played by Sylvester Stallone, and he wasn't happy with my loyalty towards Dwight, and he made it well known physically and verbally said, "What if I took you out?" Fast
Yeah.
forward now to episode one of season two. There's a lot going on. Goody left. We all saw that happen last season. So he's on the Tulsa side, and we were sending a message to Goody, and Jerry, Izzo, and Goody were really tight. And that was the message sent that you shouldn't really mess with us. If you mess with us, this is what's going to happen. And like I said, I thought I was on the chopping block, so it was a relief.
Absolutely. And Joseph, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the last name, but Joseph Riccobene, I believe his name is, played Jerry Izzo. I mean, he's got a very
Rico Bang, Rico
Riccobene.
Bang.
Riccobene
Yeah.
just butchered that, but he's got a very familiar face as well, right? He played Jimmy the Weasel in The Irishman,
Illegal.
right? He's the
Yep.
one that snitched out on Joe Pesci's character, right, on Russell, and he also had a prominent role in Boardwalk Empire, right? So he's got that
Yep.
relationship with Terrence Winter. And if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, did he write? Was he part of the writing team of season
No,
one?
Joe is part of the producing crew, and he's also part of the head writing group. So he is a big player in Tulsa King. He's awesome,
Awesome.
man. Joe's
Yeah.
amazing too. This this past season was really good for me in the sense that I got really close to a lot of the cast members this time around. I was there a lot more often. Last season I had one episode. This season you're going to see quite a bit of Johnny the Zip. So I can give you that much.
That's gonna. I'm excited for that, right? Because we had to wait until, towards the end of season one to where we saw your character, and just like you mentioned, right, your character obviously is demonstrating the integrity of the mob, right, by not wanting to whack, someone that's made and kind of asking the right questions. But we're seeing very quickly, right, anytime someone tests cheeky, how quickly. they're taking out. And I was a little bummed to see Joseph's character go, just because I love every time you see him, he's just such a great actor as well. So it was kind of bittersweet, seeing him, and then obviously the scene that he had. But I know we were joking last season. We were talking to that because of your character sort of speaking out of line, that you'd be a good fit maybe going to Tulsa, right? So maybe we'll see your character make his way on Sly's crew.
I don't know. I don't know what happens with Johnny the Zip and the family. You got to tune in and find out. Got to tune in and find out. But yeah, last season we hinted towards that.
Yeah. And
So
and some amazing additions, right? I mean, definitely, obviously the show has picked up, and we've had some amazing cast additions to season two with Neal McDonough, Frank Grillo, and this was something that I was obviously wanting to see the story. And Neal McDonough, right? Anytime you see his character, right, something's about to go down, right? He's always just a great villain.
he's such a great his face. Like you look at him, like he's just got this presence. And then when you watch him on the show, you're like, wow. He gives you the wow factor, right? And he plays the villain so well that you like him.
Hmm.
Like you're like, I like him. Like, why do I like him? He's the bad guy. Why do I like him though? But he's a great addition to that. Frank Grillo, man, what a blessing to have him on the show too. I mean, it's you look at Frank's career, in the Marvel world, you look at him, in the television world, like he's been around, man, and the guy works and he's super talented and like I've had the pleasure of meeting Frank long before filming Tulsa King. And he's, Italian guy, so I got along with him really well. The family's from Italy. He met my mom and dad. We were at a pizza place, and he graciously took pictures with my mother and father.
Wow.
So Frank, to be part of the show just brings an element because he's got such a dangerous quality to him when you see him, right? And him playing Bevilacqua, like there's a lot that's going to be happening this season in Tulsa King that the audience is going to be like wowed. They're going to be
Yeah.
wowed.
Definitely, definitely right. And I know it goes without saying, but I mean, Frank Grillo has a very, massive presence to himself. Sly obviously is Rocky. I mean, it just seems like it's inevitable. We got to see a showdown between these two guys.
Oh, these two guys, you brought up before we jumped down, with the beard and the Rocky Four thing and Drago and the headbutting and the whole situation. You know, Dwight Bevilacqua, they might end up having one of those battles. You never know where the season's going to go.
Yeah.
But it's inevitable because you can't take, what is it like an immovable object or an immovable force with what's the line? I can't think of the line.
Uh,
Uh,
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, the immovable object meets an immovable force or something like
yeah,
that.
something like that. And that's what these two guys are. And they're that as talent. They're not just that as the characters. It's like when you put these two guys on the screen together, oh, it's dynamic. It's dynamic.
Definitely, definitely. And the what's unique about this show is just how great the writing is, because I mean we jump back into the finale, right? We see Dwight, get arrested and goes back to jail, and I'm just like, how are the writers going to write themselves out of this, right? And just everything just flows so seamlessly, because again, this is just as equally as a drama as it is a comedy, right? You'll be laughing the entire time,
Yeah.
then you get the serious scenes equally as well too. And just a credit to the writing team.
The writing team kicked it up a notch too this season more than anything else because they gave Sly a lot more, right? Because last season he had a lot of dialogue going into it. Was who am I kidding when I say a lot more? But this season, like they entrusted it, and he entrusted himself, and he got himself into the character deeper, and like like you said, it's got that comedic feel to it, but yet that seriousness to it. So I mean, it is The Sopranos meets Yellowstone meets a little comedic touch to it, just a touch.
Definitely, definitely. And I know with which is really exciting with obviously your character, you mentioning, getting some more depth this season. Obviously, you coming on last season for an episode, the preparation might be different from having a more in-depth role this season. What was different to your approach as far as how you prepared for this season from last season?
Last season, I didn't know where I was going to go with it, so I prepared like I would normally prepare for a role, and I thought it was just going to be at one hit with it. This season, knowing that how many episodes I was going to be, and they had told me already, I literally needed to cultivate a little bit more of a grounded feel to who I was, an understanding of who I was, and an understanding of who I am in the family. Right, I can't just come in there now and deliver lines like I'm telling the story anymore. Now it's a matter of being viscerally connected, emotionally connected with the other characters. My relationship with Chicky, my relationship with Vince, my relationship with Nikki D. There's relationships now that need to be built. Otherwise, you're just going to be watching a bunch of talking heads and not believing that they're either fighting for one another, fighting each other, or fighting the battle together. So I took that into it. So I started reading the scripts with a little bit more depth. I started reading my character with a little bit more depth. Really trying to create that familiarity with the family and the other characters.
And I mean, it goes without saying as well, too, right? We have, Taylor Sheridan, creator of Yellowstone. We also
Yeah,
have Terrence Winter from Sopranos and Boardwalk
Terry.
Empire, marrying
Yeah,
these two worlds together, right? I mean, it's just a recipe for success.
yeah.
Were you, first of all, what's it like, working part of that team?
Oh my God, it's a dream come true. I mean, how can you not want to be part of two of the greatest show creators right now on television? I mean, come on, man. Just Yellowstone and Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire. Was it 1883? These are shows that are
Yeah.
just like they're amazing to watch. And then I get to be a part of something that they created, right? This season, we almost lost Terry this season because at the beginning
Yeah.
because of time constraints that he had, he wasn't going to be a part of the show. And then somehow, some way, it worked, and the magic just worked because when his words hit the page, it's just it's magic. We're working for both Terry and Taylor. It's a dream come true. I mean, I got the trifecta. I'm with Sly, and I'm with two of the greatest show creators, in Hollywood right now.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if this happened beforehand because I did see where it was announced that Terrence Winter was not going to be part of season two. And then the writer's strike happened. Was the writer's strike a blessing because it gave more time to allow the schedule, or was that totally separate?
Maybe I don't want to speak out of line and out of turn on how it worked out for Terry. But it could have because the schedule did obviously clear up
Yeah,
because there wasn't work anymore.
yeah,
So that could have been something along the lines. But getting him back on the show and I think is a blessing. It's a blessing because I'm not saying it would have gone in a different direction without him. Um, but with him there, it's just the authenticity of the New York family and the mob quality that's going in there is really really heavily featured.
definitely, definitely. And I mean, I got to sneak in another Sly question just because we're both, Sly fans. But did you get a chance to meet him offset at all, or
It was like seeing Santa Claus.
oh man?
It was like seeing Santa Claus, man. It was like seeing Santa Claus. Oh God, Chris Coldovino, who plays Goody. I remember I sat down, I had dinner with him, and I asked him like, "Yo, Chris, I'm like, if I get near him, he's like, whatever you do, don't fanboy out." He's like, "Don't fanboy out." He's like, "That, don't do that." He's like, just be you. I'm like, all right. So I'm wandering around, and we shot all this in Atlanta this season. The season was all shot. Majority was shot in Atlanta. They did pickups in Tulsa, but all my stuff was shot in Atlanta, in the studios in Atlanta. So I'm walking around and I'm going to set, and then I just happen to hop in, into the set where they're filming, and I'm looking, and all of a sudden I just see this presence just walking, and I just was like, "It's Santa Claus." I'm like, oh, it's like it's all my superheroes coming into one. Then I heard his voice, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm working with this guy. I'm like,
Wow.
this is like it was surreal. It was
Now.
surreal. It's like I'm meeting my childhood idol.
Wow.
And it was absolutely surreal. Hands down, great guy. Like, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better boss in that sense, like in that world.
Yeah.
Great guy. Yeah, I just overall, man, this season. I enjoyed the season because I like learning when I get on set. Like I don't really like to go into my trailer and hang out. I'll go there when I need to get out of the way or when I really need to focus. But if I know I have time, I'm on set. Like I'm watching what everybody's doing, man. I was watching what the writers were doing, when they were sitting there. I was watching what some of the head producers were doing. I was watching what the director was doing, the first AD, the grips. I was just watching, and to see the machine work, because this is a machine.
Yeah.
To see it work, and then to see these amazing, talented actors just go to work. I was taken aback. I mean, a lot of my scene work is with Dominic and with Vince, Chicky and Vince.
Yeah.
Vince plays Vince. Um, and these guys are the most giving actors that, when we work things out, we were like talked about our do some of this, have this look, have that, right? Just eye contact stuff. And these guys brought me in as if I was a part of their family. Like they brought me in as if I was one of their own immediately. And I couldn't ask for a better experience.
Amazing, amazing. And just seeing, I mean, Sylvester's 78, I think pushing 79, and just to see him get better, not even each decade, just every year getting better and better and better each year. I mean, 40 years after winning it was the Golden Globe that he'd won, and then he was nominated for an Oscar for Rocky 1, and then he won the Golden Globe and Creed 1, and then obviously
Yep.
was nominated for the Oscar. And I think that was a year that, he had gotten robbed. I think he deserved it that year.
He deserved it. He
But
deserved it.
yeah, but just seeing him just get better and better. And that was the first, I was watching the first episode, and he's literally almost in like every single scene, and just how much he gives to each scene. You could see the water in his eyes. Like he just makes you want to go out and like climb a mountain. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It's
like
insane.
to this day, and not to talk about Rocky in that sense, but like workout music is that. Like that's and when I play the music, like I don't see the movie. I see him, right? And when I hear the Tulsa King theme, I see him. It's there's maybe it's just because of the way I grew up and how I idolized him so much, that I, I like really just want to emulate what he did, right? Like he was the guy. Like, he turned himself, like again, we could talk about Sly for thousands of hours, and I will repeat stories and still feel like I'm telling them for the first time. But I mean, he started from nothing, right? Like the guy was he was a hard journeyman working actor, doing his thing, plugging away. Stanley and Lords of Flatbush. Then he's like, you know what? I gotta get out of this rut that he's playing, right? He was on Kojak. He played he's a guest star on Kojak, played one of the cops who think he killed a kid accidentally, and they were, questioning him, like the internal affairs.
Yeah.
So he was one of those actors who just kept doing the little roles here and there that were coming. And then Rocky, puts him on the map, and then he doubled down on it, and then he doubled down again, and then he just went to Rambo, and then he doubled down. And then he did Expendables years later, and then he doubled down. Like the guy's talented. Not only as an actor, he's talented as a writer, he's talented as a director, he's talented as a producer, and he's a family man on top of it all. It's like, come on, man, can you be perfect? I mean,
Yeah.
can you do something? Can you do something wrong? I can, but he's just a genuinely amazing guy. And then through this time frame, like I knew he was from Italy, I knew where his family was kind of from. I didn't realize his family is from my mom and dad's hometown
Oh, wow.
in Italy. So there's like such things that are just tying everything up together now. I feel like I'm his brother.
That's amazing. And what's insane is that again, at 78, nearly 80, this is the first time that he's actually played a mobster, which is insane, right? Throughout all his career. But if you think about it, he was technically a mobster in Rocky, right? He was working for Gazzo.
Yeah, yeah. Technically, he was the muscle, but he played a mobster in a little movie that doesn't get a lot of credit.
In
It
the
got torn
Union?
up a little bit.
The
Nope,
Union?
that he played the union boss, but I wouldn't really say he was a mobster in that one. A little movie called Oscar. Marissa
Oh
Tomei
man, how did I forget Oscar? Oh my goodness.
It was a
Oh
comedy.
man.
It was a
Yeah,
comedy,
yeah,
but
you're right. No, he
he
was the boss. He was the boss. He's a
he
mobster
was the
there.
boss. Chaz Palminteri was in that. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was.
No, I totally missed that one. I totally missed
But
that
no,
one.
but I mean, when you're looking at it, like he's never really played the Scorsese type mobster, right? He's never really
Hmm.
played the De Niro, the Pacino, the Pesci type mobster where he's in
Yes.
Goodfellas and he's that character. Has he played gritty characters throughout his career? Absolutely. I mean, Copland
Yeah.
is a great movie, and he played a gritty cop, beat up underlying guy that was trying to do right. Um, but was it Lockup? He does a lot of these action things, but this one, he's not the action guy, right? He'll throw a couple punches, which is really cool. Like in the first
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
of
You got
season
it.
two, just come on. If Sly's not throwing a punch and hitting somebody, something's up. Like he's got to knock
I
somebody out,
agree.
right?
I agree.
Um, but there's something about him with this character with Dwight Manfredi that really, really shines with him, right? Like, because you don't think he plays this guy 50 years ago. I really don't. I really don't think this suit that he wears fits him, 40, 50 years ago, right? Because Rambo action guy, it would have been hard, right? But through his age at 78, can't believe it. He's 78, right? But it
Yeah.
just he wears it perfectly.
No,
Like sounds, you know.
yeah, no, no, absolutely. And I just want to echo what you were saying earlier, just about how genuine of a man he is too. We actually interviewed Frank Stallone. He's been on the show before, but also too, I had a chance of meeting or met Sly once, actually in Beverly Hills. And it was just a chance meeting. I just walked past each other and I asked him for a picture. And I was walking up, and then someone else came and like cut right in front of me. And then he saw what happened there. And as soon as they were done, he's like, "Hey, get back over here." And I was like, "Oh shoot, okay." And he was just super nice. Like he made sure I got my picture, and I got my hand over Rocky, and it was just super. It was, for me, it was a 10-second encounter, but like I still remember it like it was
Wow.
yesterday. But it was just super nice of him, and just when meeting Frank as well, like just seemed like two real genuine, nice family guys that I just enjoyed meeting. So I'm just excited to see, obviously, the work. Carrying over into the screen. I'm excited to see where the rest of this season carries over without giving too, and I know we kind of talked a little bit of spoilers, but what can you tell the fans? What can they expect for the remaining episodes of the season?
I'll say this: don't miss an episode. I'll say this: don't miss an episode. Thank God it's on Paramount Plus and it's streaming. So if you do miss one, you can always go back to see it. So, but it's there's a lot of surprises. There's a lot of WTFs moments. Like where did that come from? And it's just going to continually be that until the final episode, until the season ending episode. There's a lot of great action. Sly's gonna be going through a lot. He's not just dealing with the New York family anymore, right? There's two other guys that are in this picture now that kind of want their due. Bevilacqua is going to be in there. Thrasher's got his thing, and there's a few more other elements that are going to be in there. I highly recommend not missing an episode.
Definitely, definitely. As soon as the episode ended, I was like, man, I got to wait a whole other week. But also too, I can't not mention the Easter eggs, right? The Sopranos, right? You got Bevilacqua, obviously, right, from a Sopranos name. The horse, I believe, is called Pi, also too
Hi,
from Pi Oh My.
how am
So,
I?
right. So I mean, there's so many good. I mean, if you're a Sopranos fan, I mean, you're crazy if you're not, watching this already. But for the new audiences, as well. I mean, it's just a great mixture of both comedy, action, Yellowstone meets Sopranos, all the above. But I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the season. And I also, since we got you on, I can't let you sneak out with just talking about some of your, because you've had a few projects since last season. Anything that you're excited to share with the fans?
We got a movie that's going to be coming out later this month. Are we in October yet? No, in October, the end of
Mhm.
October, a movie called The Corner, which I shot in Chicago. I lead in it. Patrick Muldoon is in it. Brittany Underwood. Um, I come back home and I take over my father's bar. And some crazy incident happens, and I have to figure out a way to keep myself from going to prison. And there's an incident that happens in the bar. One of my busboys is killed, and we just don't know who did it. And we're trying to figure it all out. There's a twist at the end of that in that movie, but that comes out later this year. And then I'm currently in Chicago now again, producing another movie with my producing partner Kevin Internato, and a crime thriller, little action movie. We have Michael Beach in the movie, who's also on Tulsa King. He um, Mayor Kingstown. Patrick Muldoon again. I work with Patrick quite a bit. We're good friends, and then I'm finalizing a deal with Denise Richards. And then Kevin Internato, who wrote, directed, and will also be starring in it. It's a movie about two brothers who foul up a drop and are on the run from the underworld. And I play one of the main bad guys chasing these two guys throughout the city of Chicago. It's a cross between Thief and Drive. It's a little bit of Pope of Greenwich Village-esque. So that will probably be done hopefully by summer release. We can have a summer release with it. That's our ultimate goal. But yeah, man, it's been a fun ride so far, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Love it, love it. I'm excited to see, obviously you're keeping busy. And as these projects, keep coming out, we're also going to share them on our page as well. And I mean, how exciting is it, right? I mean, we still got a full season of Tulsa King, obviously, that every episode, we get to share with the fans and get to ride in the passenger seat, right? As we get to watch you guys on screen. But I just want to be, Guy, respectful of your time. I just want to be, one, extremely thankful to have you back on our show. Always love, talking shop with you. And again, if I just feel like me and you can just talk hours about movies and action and everything. So I definitely want to save some more for round three, and excited to keep
Absolutely.
bugging you every episode of this season.
Absolutely, man. Just hit me up and I will come. Your show is one of the funner shows I enjoy doing. You're great to talk to, and I the minute you sent me the message, I was like, absolutely.
Thank you
I was
so
like,
much.
absolutely, absolutely. I love chatting with you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, man, I'm excited about this season. Please, everyone, season two, Paramount Plus, Tulsa King, every week, every Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Guy, and can't wait to share with the fans, and we'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.